For those of you who want to know more about ExecSG, we have the man who's supervising that project right here at AmiWest2019. And he's about to tell us about what it means, what it is, what it does, and why they're doing the project, I hope. Anyway, so this will be a shorter presentation about ExecSG, basically an outline and a summary. Tomorrow afternoon, we'll have a longer actual question and answer session about it. And so without further ado, Mr. Steve Solie, ExecSG Team Lead.
Sounds official. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Brian. There we go. So I got my garb on. So before I dive in, I just wanted to say a couple things. Yeah. First, I guess the cap. So that says "Make Amiga Great Again." It looks a little like a certain other cap that's common down here. Maybe not in this state, but other states. Right. It's kind of like a protest cap. So it's like, make Amiga great again, you know? Who cares about that other stuff? How about Amiga? I don't really need this, but and then my other little protest shirt I made a couple of year back, is I own Amiga. Remember, there's all this fighting about who owns Amiga, who owns a trademark, who owns a patent. Well, there's no patents. Whatever, right? Copyrights. I said, no. I own Amiga. You own Amiga. You own Amiga. We do. We all own Amiga. Not just some guy or whatever, lawyer, somebody, right? No. We do. Right? Yeah. We're the guys who pay for it. We made it. Yes, we did. So that's what I'm trying to say here, not me personally. Just to let you know. A little announcement from Kevin here. What's your handle on the? Stonecracker. So on Amigas.net, Stonecracker posted instructions for compiling from Windows, cross-compiling from Windows, Sigwin, to Amiga. And it has broken, apparently. And out on the web or in the room, anybody who has trouble with it, please get in contact with Stonecracker. Go to Amigans.net, click PM, email, whatever. Just tell him what's wrong. He will fix it. Okay? He will fix it. So a little announcement there. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. Now, Amiga DevCon. Okay, so I presented this, something very similar to this at the DevCon 3 days ago now. Man, it's going crazy. This is about the ExecSG team. So there's our new logo, by the way. I should go back there. Yeah. There's our new logo. The logo? Thank you, Chris. When are you going to finish it? That's pretty stupid, by the way. So it was Trevor, me, and Ken. We kind of forced our ideas on Ken, though. I know he doesn't feel too pleased about it, but he's okay. We went around and around. We need a new logo for our team, you know, because I like to rally around a logo, a brand, whatever you want to call it, color, just to keep everyone cohesive and coherent. And this is kind of like a construction, and there's the core, right? There's the center, the red. That's ExecSG inside, and then AmigaOS all on the outside. You know. It's kind of rising sun as well. Kind of. I know a lot of Japanese, you know, Toyota. So as Trevor mentioned in the previous announcement, Trevor owns Amiga ExecSG. I'm an appointed team lead. Hyperion contracts in place. I think that was made clear. New logo. That's the part he didn't really mention much of. The new logo. Skip that part. What is ExecSG? So, what am I talking about? Because this may or may not be important to you. Because as a customer, consumer, whatever your user, you don't really care as long as it all works, right? It actually stands for Executive Second Generation, and the original executive was written by Carl Sassenrath, who has been here before, been a few years, I think, since we saw Carl. It's a collection of components, actually. It's not just one thing. So if you look on your hard drive, you'll see exec library. You won't see expansion because that's inside of that. But anyway, these are contained within each other, but there's various pieces. Utility library, emulator. There's an x86, no, we don't have that. Emulator, there's a 68K emulator in there. AmigaBoot is part of it, and AmigaBoot is a U-boot thing, kick layouts, dump debug. And there's, of course, the ExecSG SDK. That's also part of the package. So I drew a little diagram to help explain it. Ooh, didn't look as great on this projector. So the stuff in orange, we could say, is owned by Hyperion. The stuff in red is owned by Trevor. And then there's your various layers. You got your hardware on the bottom, your firmware. The firmware only runs for, hopefully, as fast as possible. It gets out of the way, but it's still there, and we still have to maintain this stuff. Amiga bootloader. And then it goes into AmigaOS. And then you got your exec. We actually handle the Zorro PCI stuff, and the 60K emulator, and a bunch of other stuff. This is just a short little summary of stuff that makes up AmigaOS, as you can see in the big box. So hopefully that helps explain it. And there's some more. What does it do? ExecSG does a whole bunch of stuff. Memory, task scheduling, PCI, like I said, Zorro, if you're on Classic. 68K emulation, the non-JIT version, because you actually have two 68K emulators in your AmigaOS machine. You have the interpreted one, and you have the JIT one. And the interpreted one is the one that runs first. And it's also the one that runs if the interpreted, or if the just-in-time one fails. It'll drop down to the interpreted one. Debugging, and there's some utilities in there. Just kind of strange, like tag list processing is actually part of ExecSG. Doesn't seem to belong, but it is in there. UTF-8 support that we've added. Oh man, that was a while back now. Man, so the UTF-8 support is actually started in ExecSG. And a whole bunch of more components and bits and pieces. Now, okay, so that's what it is. So what's the status? Well, the private repository, the wiki's set up, the mailing list is running, kernels, all kernels are building for all targets. SDK is released, kernels are released, new DMA engine API. That's something brand new that we had help with, from Jamie Kruger helped us with that and implemented it, and it's going to hit beta testing probably first week of November, I hope. That's our schedule, so we'll see how that goes. And also, we have a steering committee. So since we're working very closely with Hyperion, because one can't exist without the other, we had to have a little high-level manager kind of steering committee to make sure we all row in the same direction. So I have Timothy DeGroot on there, Trevor, myself. We didn't have anybody else yet. So this is like very high-level decisions, like, are we going to port to ARM? We'll decide together, right? We're going to ARM now, right? That kind of decision. We're going to add multi-core group decision, right? So that kind of thing. We need to make sure we're all aligned, because you can't have one fighting against the other. It just doesn't work. And you guys will get an inferior product, so we don't want that, right? So that's what we're going to use that for. And dev team. So these are the guys doing the actual work. And right now, I've kept the team very small. I'm adding people bit by bit. And we got Thomas, Tony. Thomas isn't here, but Tony's here. Olaf, Colin Wenzel. He's a local DOS expert, but he also fiddles around in other pieces of exec. Jamie Kruger's on there, Frederick Wickstrom, and myself. And interesting little tidbit about when I added Frederick Wickstrom. I swear he started committing code within an hour of having access to the repository. It's like, I just added you and you already changed something. It's like, holy, I like that guy. That was really cool. That was really cool. He's keen. Thomas, of course, got our kernels building. So that was the first task I gave to him. I said, okay, we got to get a building without any other external source files. So that was natively and cross. Got both. Yeah, you could try it, Tony. You can.
I will.
All right. I guarantee it works. Not a guarantee.
Somebody doesn't recognize Frederick. His online nick is Salas00.
Yeah, Frederick's is Salas00 or something. Yeah, that's his nick. Yeah, these guys, they're also, I believe we're all worked for Hyperion as well. Yeah, are working or have worked. Yeah. And if you are a developer and you think you can help, email me. We'll talk. Who knows, right? I'm always looking for more people. I think what I did in this case is I tapped them all. I said, I want you, I want you, I want you, I want you. And that's how I have building the team. Hardware. So that was scary. When I made our list of targets, I got a little scared. We have a lot. Now, you could group some of them, but still, they are a target. So if I was doing a proper job, I would test on every single hardware target combination, right? Some of this stuff is pretty hard to come by now. But I thought I'd list it all. I think the only thing I dropped was AmigaOS SE, which I don't quite count as a platform, but we'll argue about that one. It wasn't really, anyway. I also was talking about moving forward. We're going to have to start dropping some platform support at some point. So, I'm looking at the bottom, which would be the bottom right, and work my way back, for dropping support. So if you still are on a blizzard or a cyberstorm, you probably want to get 1222 soon-ish. Not saying do it today, but it will happen. Roadmap. Okay, so this is something that I've never seen before. Yeah. Did we have one in 2000? A roadmap? No? Amiga had a roadmap. Oh, wow. That was before my time then. Oh, there was a roadmap apparently. 15 years ago? 19 years ago? Oh my, okay. So this is new. So my roadmap, which I've been refining with Trevor and Thomas Frieden actually, is to do these things. What we want to focus on is getting the 1222 out the door, right? So that's number one, get it out the door, whatever that means. So ExecSG team, what that means is getting the floating point emulation and replacement stuff working nice and smooth. I've seen some bad things happen with the number crunching. We got to fix those. So it's close, but it's not done. I want to get that done. I want better logging, better debug logging, and we especially need that for multi-core, because with multi-core, you got a whole bunch more fun, and you got to know what core you're running on. You got to know what time it is. Basic stuff that should be in the log without thinking, right? Like syslog on Linux, right? Or Windows Event Manager, or whatever it's called. Same kind of thing. Console on a Mac? See, I don't even use that Mac console.
There's a console service.
Is there?
Everything registers into it. It's all one place.
Okay. It's called console on Mac. Okay. Okay, cute. And of course, bug fixes. The roadmap is a work in progress as well, because this roadmap has no dates on it. Disappointing, I know. But at least we know what we're doing. So that's something, right? Something. So I've adopted a product backlog approach to running this one, stolen from Scrum. And here are some details on what that means. I'll just highlight a couple things. Basically, this is a prioritized list of things to do. And the team will work on the highest priority item first, and will probably never finish the bottom item. whatever the bottom item is. This is kind of an interesting way to run things because, you know, in software, you always have something new to do. Always, always, always. Because the environment changes. It's not just you, your product. The environment around you changes, and you got to add a new feature, run a new hardware, whatever it is, right? And so one of the things is it's never complete, a product backlog. So you got to make sure you got the priorities right. And I think we could safely say on AmigaOS, we have a product backlog in Bugzilla, and there's bugs in there that will never be fixed, ever. And I know I had this experience with my previous company, one of the previous companies I worked for. We had a bug database, and at 1 year, somebody went in there and said, okay, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. We got to purge. And they took the last 2,000 items and went, chop. And erased it and pretended they weren't there. Because if you look at them, you're just wasting money. Every item you look at, you waste money, burn, burn, burn. So someday you gotta just go, I give up, move on. And you do this product backlog until the product is discontinued, basically, as soon as you stop. So it's continuous. Another important item is this is a single source of all the stuff we're gonna do. So if it's not on there, it's never gonna be done. So if somebody posted some web forum, oh, I want this feature, and some guy said, oh yeah, we're gonna do that on ExecSG. Well, if it's not on the backlog, it's never gonna be done. Now, ideally, I'd like to make the backlog public, right? But Trevor and I will discuss that. If I was running things, no. Yeah, but I got a product owner that might have opinions. Order list, single source. Yeah, and the owner. Yes, the owner. That's the other important concept. Trevor is the owner of the backlog, not me. I'm not the owner. I could be delegated to run it, but he is the owner. So if Trevor decides multi-core is number one, it's number one. That's it. I don't argue. Well, I can argue with him, but he still wins. There's no voting. I didn't want to say that, Tony. That's got connotations. Questions? So that was it. Yeah, that's my presentation. Questions?
You mentioned porting to ARM. You guys have a timetable?
Oh, I mentioned porting to ARM. Yeah, see, I can't open my mouth, can I? No, that was an example, Ken. Yeah, if it's on the product backlog, though, I will do it. So you know who to talk to, don't you? Yes.
Part of the logging, will that also be tied into remote GDB server?
Part of the logging, yeah. Is that going to be part of
The remote GDB server.
GDB server?
So you could do remote GDB.
I did not think about that.
Okay.
I guess it is now.
Probably once.
Yeah,
It just
is
helps everyone.
the logging. So how would that work? The logging is spitting out, and then that should go to a GDB server, which goes to wherever. Ah, very nice idea. A Grim Reaper should be in there too, I imagine. Because we used to have a GDB button on Grim Reaper. Does that still do anything? It's ISDN? Okay. It still does nothing. Ah, okay. Yeah, it's kind of two levels to that, right?
Yeah.
There's the ExecSG level, which is down here, and then a Grim Reaper is kind of on top of that. There's actually two Reapers in the system. I don't know if you know. There's Reaper and Grim Reaper. They're brothers or something. I don't know. Reaper's in the kernel. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to do questions tomorrow morning, but as well. But I was going to get from the... Any other questions while I'm here? Yeah.
What's the hierarchy of the Grim Reapers?
ExecSG Grim Reapers first. Yeah. 68K. Any reason not to have ExecSG on 68K? I guess not. I don't know. Yes, interesting question. Yeah. Yes, good. Depends. We'll talk to the steering committee and figure it out, right? Sure. Yeah.
Last question.
Sure.
What fundamental software will this allow for OS4?
Ah, yes.
Like from a user perspective.
Yeah,
Ignore
ExecSG.
the developer. What's the user perspective?
He said he asked what fundamental software will this help with, right? So that's the thing. We are a foundation service basically. That's the way I look at it. So if we're not helping to get 10.4 Fox, whatever LibreOffice going right, then we're not relevant. So we're going to be adding primitives so that things like the C++ library can call these primitives and work, right? Modern C++, right? So that's the kind of thing we're going to do. And modern C++ enables LibreOffice and all these other goodies that you guys want, right? And makes actually multi-thread development a lot easier, and less crash prone, all that good stuff. We also have to support new platforms that pop out, right? So that's foundational. If there's new hardware or new virtual hardware, because I want to do virtual hardware as well, we want to support that at a foundation level, and then the OS will build on top of that. So it's kind of a wishy-washy thing, but it's important. Like we gotta start at the bottom, which is ExecSG. And I guess the one layer below us, like in the diagram, was the firmware. So although people don't really care about it, if we don't have it, we don't get ExecSG because it builds upon it, right? It's necessary evil, I guess you'd say. It initializes your hardware. Yeah. Oh, Paul had a question too. Yeah. Can we build all the firmware for all the targets? Oh, the firmware itself. That's the firmware is not part of ExecSG. The firmware isn't. Amiga Boot and Loader are. But that's something actually I wanted to bring into the umbrella, to be honest. I wanted to have U-Boot in the repository. I wanted CFE. I wanted, what's the other? Open firmware in our repository and building by us, because that would make things so much easier to debug. Right? Very. No, but it's all, is it all open source? U-Boot's GPL. Open firmware, I don't remember if it is. Hopefully we can obtain it. Trevor's nodding, so that's a good sign. Yes, sir.
Can you explain in layman's terms how you're going to move ExecSG forward and AmigaOS forward to be more modern without turning it into something like loaded Linux and Windows? Just in layman's terms.
What's that?
What's going to make AmigaOS different?
Okay, so the question is like, how do we move forward and make AmigaOS different and support? How do we keep the efficiency, so to speak, or the feel, that kind of stuff? Yeah, that's all. I don't actually have an answer to that. You know, I don't really have a direct answer to that. I know when it feels wrong. I could say that. It's hard to know when it feels right, but I know when we're going the wrong direction, you know right away, right?
Because to make things modern, you've got to steal
Yeah.
technologies from Windows.
Yeah, you got to steal technologies, like the multi-core, for example, right? So multi-core on AmigaOS is difficult because you're going to break everything, right? So the idea right now is, okay, Core 0, that's AmigaOS. Core 1, well, okay, we're going to run over there, but if you go over there, you have to follow some more rules. You can't just take your app and just go drag, drop, run it on Core 1, right? So we can't do seamless SMP because how in the world could that not break everything? Yeah, you know, so the current plan is to, do some baby steps first, get some pointers isolated and but as soon as it starts to lag or feel bad, we'll know and we'll say, whoa, back up, right? Sorry, I don't have a direct answer, but I know when it's going bad. Yeah. Yep.
Will we ever see memory protection?
Memory protection. Oh, man. Oh, it's a tough one, hey? Yeah, again, destroys compatibility, but necessary evil. So we just have a hybrid. Yeah, we want to add more. I know that was on Thomas's list, very high on his list. He said, oh, we really got to get that private memory working properly. Yeah, where it actually is private to a task. So if you have a process, I guess in nomenclature, it would be actual protection.
By the way, you mentioned something that is key to me. You mentioned modern C++. If people haven't actually looked at, say, C++ 17, they should, because it's not your grandma's C++. It's truly a leap forward. Anyway, I gotta imagine that would accelerate a lot of development.
Yeah, Chris's comment / question was on C++. And actually, just last week, I was at a seminar with Jorn Strustrup. And he said, in real life, yes, he's a very nice man. He said exactly the same kind of thing Chris said, you know, look at C++ 11, 17, 20. 20 is going to be huge. He thinks 20 is going to blow the heck out of 17, in his opinion. He said, 17, that's old school. It's like, I haven't even tried 17 myself yet. It's like, what? Because he's adding this new feature to the language concepts, and he thinks that's going to revolutionize a lot of computing. So we got some catching up to do. Yeah, but you're right. We have to support modern C++ languages because all of our tools are based on it now, all the modern tools. And it actually makes for better software as well, which is a nice thing. That's less crash prone, a lot less.
It's mission critical now.
Mission critical, I guess another thing to say. C++.
Modern C++ library support is mission critical.
Yeah, modern C++ support is mission critical, is the comment. I agree with that. And ExecSG can help to make that happen. And we will. We will help as much as we can. And then Hyperion need to help as well, of course, with the other pieces. Not so much, but you never know. There's C++ is a very large language, as you know. So there are aspects of it that you need help from all sorts of OS bits and pieces. Thank you.